by trade, professor of history. Um, I've been involved in several organizations and activist movements throughout the country, traveled and spoke in over 140 countries. Currently, I am a candidate as an NPA, that is a non-party affiliated individual for District 10, which is Orange County, Florida, which is Orlando proper. Thank you for allowing me to come on. I look forward to working with this mighty movement and the many brothers and sisters who are on the right path to try to liberate our people, not only home, but also abroad. Thank you very much.
All right, Ashe. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining us. Coming
Thank you.
on over, um, we have someone at Galaxy AO2. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group talent, any group, organization, or entity that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities that you wish to share with the collective. Give thanks. And that is Galaxy AO2. Okay. Moving on, coming over to Sister Truth Bay. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, any group, any to your organization that you might be representing or affiliated with. Give thanks, Sister Truth Bay.
All right, peace and blessings. Thank you so much, Brother Lumumba and Empress Chi. So my name is Dr. Truth Bay. I'm actually a policy analyst from California, and I work in the sector of housing primarily and supporting candidates. So organizing and policy and legislation is very important, merging with the youth. And so that's our primary goal. And I'm so grateful to now be a part of the Million Women World March in October, where we definitely need Black women in these spaces of planning and rebuilding our community. And I'm grateful also Dr. Issa White is supporting him as a Congress in Orlando, District 10. So I'm so grateful for him to be on as well and lend our support. So thank you again. And I don't really do too much talking, but I appreciate being here. Power to the people.
All right, power to the people. Give thanks, much appreciated. With that being said, I want to come over to Brother Lefty. Brother Lefty, if you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, any to your organization that you might be representing or affiliated with, and any gifts, talents, or abilities that you wish to share with the collective. Give thanks, Brother Lefty.
Peace, everybody. My name is Lefty X. I'm hailing out of Philadelphia. I'm the CEO of Who's Left Entertainment. I'm just here to share with the collective. Share.
All right, coming over to Brother Charles Butler, if you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, any to your organization that you might be affiliated with or representing. Give thanks. Butler.
Hello, this is Sister Dot. I have my husband's phone because again, Boost has canceled my phone number. So
yeah,
I'm really pissed because I can't get anything. Nothing. No phone call, nothing.
Okay,
If it
great.
wasn't for me looking at my emails, I wouldn't even saw this.
Okay.
But anyways, I'm just a member of MWM and I'm a tax preparer. So I'm here.
All right. If you could give your your business, where it's located at, and if you could put your information in the chat in case people want to tap in and be able to utilize your services.
Okay. Out of North Philadelphia, Comprotex, 6018 Cecil Moore Avenue. The zip code 10121, and I will put my information in the chat.
All right, much appreciated. Give thanks. I'm glad you was able to tap in because I was trying to reach you as well, so I thought that might have been the issue. All right, give thanks, Sister Butler.
but I did give you my office number.
Yes, yes, I
So
was calling the
please
office.
call.
Okay,
Please.
yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, give thanks. Okay, with that being said, I want to come over to Sister uh, Sister Johnny. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling from, any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective.
Hello. This is Sister Janae out of Washington, D.C. I am a community activist, Black Panther Party affiliated, Black Justice Initiative here, and also the organizer for the Sankofa International Conference in Washington, D.C. coming in April. I'm here to join to be a part of the collective, also on the hosting committee for the Million Woman World March. And I was invited in by Sister Truth Bay and Empress Chi. Thank you.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
much appreciated. Give thanks. Thank you for joining us. Coming on over, I have um, I have Yahisha. You could introduce yourself, let everyone know. I'm not sure if this brother or sister, but let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you might be affiliated with or representing. That is Yahisha Yahuda. You could unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Yahisha Yahuda.
Oh, I didn't. Please excuse me. Shalom and good day, everyone.
Shalom.
Power to the people. I was trying to connect Brother New World Warrior, and I'm going to do that after I finish introducing myself. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I am a leader of an Israelite community, the Hebrew Israelite community, and I am vice president and director of communications of Hanashim, which is an Israelite women's group. I met Empress through Brother New World, and I'm also an entrepreneur, and I support many community causes. And I'm looking forward to listening to what you all have to say so that I'm able to encourage the women of my organization and myself first to work with more of our brothers and sisters globally. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, give thanks. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining us. All right, with that being said, I want to come on down to Sister Basima. If you could introduce yourself, greetings, sis. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you might be affiliated with or representing. I'll give thanks, Sister Basima.
Greetings. I realized I was on mute.
All right, give thanks.
All right. Yes, my name is Sister Basima Muhammad Bey, and I am honored to be on the call. Thank you, Empress Falay, for reminding me in strength that I needed to be on the call. But nevertheless, I'm a representative for UNIA, ACL, Universal Negro Improvement Association, and the African Community Leagues. I am the longest held female / officer representing UNIA, holding 14 years in office in history. I am organizing nationally, locally, and internationally. So I'm again honored to be a continuous part of the development and growth that has gone on since 1997 in our relationship. I say our Black women's relationship with the call of the Million Women's March. So I'm just going to stop right there with great gratitude to be here today. Thank you.
All right, give thanks. Much appreciated. Sister Basima, thank you for joining us. With that being said, I want to come over to Menka If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective. That is Abute Menka. You would have to unmute yourself and introduce yourself for the family. Please give thanks. All right, I'm going to circle back around. Moving on over to Shanta, Sister Shanta. All right, if you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you might be affiliated with or representing. Give thanks, Sister Shanta.
Grand Rising, give thanks for everyone, to God for being here. Ashe. Peace and blessings to everyone. This is Her Excellency Shantae Lene Herford, and I am calling in on behalf of the Center for, excuse me, put that down. I'm in Houston right now. I am babysitting my sister's son and children, and here with my mother who's not doing so well. So excuse my background noise and everything, but I live in Metro Atlanta area, Lithonia Stonecrest. My organization is the Center for Truth and Healing. Also, I'm a Royal Ambassador at Large for the Africa Kingdom Alliance. I represent over 750 African kingdoms and chiefdoms, primarily in East Africa and also Central Africa. And I am here to build strategic and collaborative partnerships with all of you. And thank you for having me. I'm gonna get off of here.
All right, give thanks. Made it. And for those who are trying to introduce themselves, you have to tap on the microphone at the bottom on your icons and unmute yourself. I do not have the power to unmute you. You have to unmute yourself. Just hit the microphone to unmute yourself and you can have the floor. With that being said, I want to come over to, and I'm going to circle back around to for those who didn't get to introduce themselves, and hopefully we can get the mic together. With that being said, I want to come over to Sensei. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities which is for the collective.
Yeah, the free to land, everybody. I go by Sensei Noah. I'm a philanthropist coined by Kentucky. Man, I've been featured in a lot of magazines, things like that. I'm a proud father of two, Kentucky State University graduate, which is a HBCU. And I'm an A&R of Universal Music Group. And I deal with the expansion of marketing with Virgin Music Group, which is basically our marketing branch. I focus on civic engagement and economically empowering our people. And I impact culture in a way that inspires change and mindsets. Like, let's expedite this process and get to it. Power to the people.
All right. Give thanks. Much appreciated. Power to the people. With that being said, I want to circle back around to Galaxy AO2. If you could unmute yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, introduce yourself, share any gifts, talents, or abilities that you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing. Okay, looks like we might have lost that caller. All right, I want to come back over to Abute Menka. Again, you would have to unmute yourself. You have to tap on to the microphone icon in order to unmute yourself. Please introduce yourself. Let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, talents, or abilities you wish to share, and any organization, entity that you are representing or affiliated with. That is Abute Menka. You have to unmute yourself, hitting the microphone. Okay, there we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here. My name is Naya Lekunze Celine. I'm from Cameroon.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Last time I came for the meeting, the same thing kept happening. I could not unmute myself.
All right. Give thanks. Well, I'm glad you got it together today. And could you share with us your organization and what they do?
Oh, I'm working with women. We are a women cooperative, a grassroots women organization. We work to empower the women and the girl child. We fight for the education of the needy, and we do processing and marketing of our products. So that's the work we are doing in Cameroon for the women, for the rural women.
All right.
It's not easy. We fight also for the rights of the rural women, their family rights, their marriage rights. So we are doing so many things for the women in Cameroon.
All right. Give thanks. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining us, Sister Naya. Okay, with that being said, I want to come back. I want to come over to Brother Joe. Brother Joe, if you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, any your organization that you might be representing or affiliated with. Brother Joe. You would have to hit the microphone to unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, my name is Joe Budd. I am the co-founder of Men Who Care of Germantown, calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was invited on the call by Brother Craig Fulmore. And we service the community here in Germantown, the northwest section of Philadelphia, fighting gun violence, engaging our youth around getting education. We do food distribution in the area, and just trying to be a light in our community, uplifting families and supporting women who maybe the father's not around, stepping up as that village to help raise our young men and our young ladies.
All right. Thanks. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining us. All right. With that being said, I want to come over to Sister Munera. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, any organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective. Give thanks, Sister Munera.
Give thanks. Greetings, everyone. Munera Bumani, calling out of Newark, New Jersey. And I am a proud member and alumni of the Million Woman Now Universal World March. And my gifts and talents is basically, empowering women returning out of incarceration. I've been out 27 years, so I'm giving back, reaching back, trying to empower and help women to become self-developed. Also, I created a Freed Women Empowerment Network where it's the voices of the women and, trying to help them, become self-sufficient, self-reliant, and also build their own enterprise. I also, I am the founder and architect of Women Build 2 Education and Trades Foundation. And I have a CDL. I am a certified construction craft laborer. So I'm basically reaching back and trying to help women who want to get into non-traditional employment and have skills in the construction unit. So that's just a little bit of what I do, but I'm also an organizer and a voice advocacy here in the city of Newark, covering all the issues that we face in our community. So I'm raising the voices, raising my voice about the conditions of, our community, home and nationwide.
All right, give thanks. Much appreciated, Sister Munera. Thank you.
Thanks. Peace and love to you.
All right, peace and blessings. Okay, with that being said, I want to come over to Sister Tanisha. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing or affiliated with. Give thanks, Sister Tanisha. Okay, just remember, family, you have to click on the microphone button in order to unmute yourself. All right, I'm going to be circling back around. With that being said, I want to come over to Hayla. All right. Yes. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities that you want to share with the collective. Sahula, Sahela, excuse me.
Yes, peace, everyone. I was invited by Sister Nana, and I'm just here for the knowledge. I'm calling in from Philadelphia.
All right, give thanks. Thank you for joining us. All right, I'm going to come over to Black Lightning. If you can introduce yourself for the know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, group, and organization that you might be representing.
Yes, sir. Black Power. I'm here with New Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, National Minister of Defense. Well, we're here to back up any and all Black revolutionary mindsets. And we have Black Power Radio on to Sundays and Mondays at 8 p.m. I'll put the number in the chat, but it's a call-in number 515-605-9889. I'm down here working with the youth and working with building shelters for the displaced people. A lot of people are living in different section of woods and tents, so they could use showers and maybe even some more heavy duty stuff, as along with camp. Like camp stoves and whatnot like that there. So basically been doing a tent drive on my page, which is Black Lightning, and that's who I am, the National Minister of Defense, here to secure all of our all Black Panther property in view. Black Power.
All right, Black Power, give thanks, much appreciated. Yes, definitely put your information in the chat so we'll be able to follow up with you. Give thanks. With that being said, I want to come over to Brother Lukman. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, entity, organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective. Give thanks, Brother Lukman.
For the land, I'm Brother Tommy Lukman. I'm a conscious New African citizen of the Provisional Government of the Republic of New Africa, interim government, and I'm representing New African Network 519, and I'm spearheading the Republic of New Africa, the Republic of New Africa grassroots mobilization to focus on the elections coming up in March, the special elections for the interim PGRNA government. I was invited by Sister True Bay, the district rep for the interim government. Free the land.
All right, give thanks, Free the land. Much appreciated. Thank you for joining us. Okay. And with that being said, I believe I had everyone introduced. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Asali, if you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you might be affiliated with or representing. I'll give thanks, Sister Asali. You have to unmute yourself by clicking on the microphone button. You have to unmute yourself by clicking on the microphone button.
Okay. Hi, my name is Salah Hakuya Chandler from San Francisco, abolitionist, social justice fighter for my people, my nation, and then also organizing the consulate embassy for our cultural heritage restoration concerning the descendants of the African Atlantic slave trade. And my organization is Mothers Saving Our Children and Moms See, which is Mothers of Murdered Children. And I stand for restoration as far as culturally what needs to be identified as innately going into ourselves and understanding the tetragrammaton, which is Yahweh Elohim, the sacred name, the Hebrew sacred name of the creator within the astrology of our bodies. And I'm invited through by way of Truth Bay of California. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Much appreciated. Give thanks. Thank you for being here. All right, with that being said, I believe everyone, okay. Let's see, Yahisha. I'm not sure if you got to introduce yourself, but please introduce yourself. Let everyone know where you're coming from.
I already introduced myself. I just wanted to say shalom, shalom to Okoti that was just speaking just now. She's of the Israelite community. I was just wanting to shalom her, that's all.
Okay, all right, give thanks. Much appreciated. All right, with that being said, I believe everyone got to introduce themselves. If anyone did not, please use the gesture to raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself now and introduce yourself. With that being said, I want to turn the mic over to Dr. Sister Empress.
Okay, greetings everyone. And wow, what a wonderful, wonderful group we have this week. And the vibration and the energy is just incredible. So thank you all for taking the time to join us today. We are not going to hold you long. Let me just ask before we begin, is there anyone who is new, who hasn't been to any of our sessions previously, or maybe one at some point? Okay. So everyone has.
No, Brother Jami Lukman, this is my first time. Sure.
Empress is my first time too. This is the Yaisha. It's my first time.
Okay, cool.
It's my first time,
Also my
brother.
first time as well.
Okay, great.
Black Power, yeah, a Black Lightning first time as well.
All right, wonderful. All right, so let me just a few.
Also, with the provisional government of New Africa as well, Black Power.
Okay, good. Thanks, my brother. And thank you all again. For those who are new, let me just do a kind of a brief overview of protocol. One of the things that we do not do in our organizing discussions is to get into conversations about religion and other things that are more inclined to be of a personal or of a group kind of nature. We ask that you honor that request. There are sessions, or will be sessions and workshops and other things that folks can get involved in at other times. But these particular sessions are for information, coordination, and action. And we value all of your time so very much that we want to stay as focused as possible when we do these sessions. But again, any issue or area of interest that any of you have, any of our sisters and brothers, best believe there's going to be workshops, study groups, think tanks, you name it. We have worked diligently to bring this movement forward. So for those who are not familiar with us, I am Sister Empress Philae Chilnesu. I am the originator, visionary of the original Million Woman March, and now the President General of the MWWM Universal Movements. So again, from a historical perspective, we are in fact the largest gathering in the world of any women anywhere ever. Also, for record, we are not only Black/African American history, we are women's history and world history. So that gives you a little background about us. The other thing that many do not know is that the Million Women March was in fact started by one Black woman first. So for the sake of history and keeping the facts correct, of course, thousands joined in later, but just as you are seeing before your eyes now, We have been working on this for the past 2 years. And greetings to my sister from Cameroon, Sister Naya. Thank you for joining us again. She will bear witness to you that we've been building with our sisters in Africa for over 2 years, well, actually 5 years, but in the last 2 in particular, Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, Benin. And so we weren't able to get to them the information for today's meeting. We're going to call another meeting that really connects our sisters from the diaspora, because we have to be more cognizant of time, because right now it is 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in Africa. So the next session that we do, it'll be like 10 in the morning Eastern time. And then that way our sisters will have a better capability of joining us. So we'll fill you in on that as we proceed. But again, from a historical perspective and for a point of clarity, the Million Woman March is not a feminist group, organization, or entity. So for those who are new to us, please make note of that. We are not talking about feminism. We are not talking about adopting any Eurocentric or other people's ideas, concepts, folkway mores, or anything else, to the best of our ability. We have worked diligently for 2.5 decades to study, research, and bring forward the history, the legacy of our people from a traditional standpoint to present day. And so now we are here to bring forward, we planted seeds in 1997. 2.5 million is the estimated attendance. And this is what the enemy recorded. And so we know that that was valid, even though they tried to undermine it and make it say, they said it was 500,000. However, the University of Pennsylvania did a mathematical aerial diagnostical study or something, and it was that institution that told us that it's an estimated 2.5 that assembled here in Philadelphia on October 25th, 1997. Again, that has never been done before, and it hasn't been done since. And the fact that it was Black women really should have given a lot of indication as to what was to come. Again, the Million Woman March has always been independent, never having a grant, never having corporate sponsoring. And that has been very difficult to do, but that is the way the ancestors gave it to us to do, so that we could stand before you now today, not owing anyone, not being in anybody's pocket, not being manipulated by a political party or anything else of that nature. Again, to be independent, self-determined, we demonstrated it from the gate, and we still represent it today. And so now we're ready to come forward to bring this movement that will now not only uplift and empower our women and girls, which is our primary, be real clear, but also in that to make certain that our families and communities for now and for future generations is going to be able to advance expeditiously, but here's one of the key words: in a sustainable manner. And we say that because it's well known that our people have made accomplishments over the years. We know about Black Wall Street, Tulsa. We know about Rosewood. We know about many cities and accomplishments of our people. But the capability to sustain some of this, that's where it has been complicated. So we, again, have done a tremendous amount of research to put some of these pieces together. We don't know it all. We're not trying to. We want to connect with brothers and sisters that have some of the pieces to these puzzles, but we can assure you we've done a lot of homework, and it is all the way live and ready to go. So I'm going to provide a PowerPoint. Some of you have seen this PowerPoint before, but for those who haven't, I wanted to kind of go through it briefly. But before I do that, I want to make sure that everyone is aware of the fact that the Million Woman World March is going to take place in Washington, D.C. in October of this year. Now, there'll be several events leading up to that, such as March the 19th will be in New York. It is intentional to go to New York. We will be at the United Nations The United Nations every year has something called the CSW, the Commission on the Status of Women. This is put on by the women of the United Nations and connected allies, be it NGOs, meaning non-governmental organizations, or other affiliates. But it is primarily orchestrated or by women who are connected to the United Nations. So again, MWM is grassroots. By the way, we've never changed that, which means, as you heard some of our sisters mention, we do things in our communities. And so simultaneously, we also do things in the boardroom and beyond. And so we're now going to show you that not only connection, capability to do that all across the board. And again, to connect the mother of civilization. That is what we're talking about, being the representation of. That way, it will not clash unnecessarily with anything or anybody. Until further notice, the Black woman is the mother of civilization, both from an archaeological standpoint, from a biological standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, and any other way you want to come with it. And so we're now rising up to stake that claim and to make certain that that declaration is clear, that we are, in fact, the daughters, the children of the mother of civilization. And the Black woman holds the essence of that being. And so this is what's going to now be used to help heal and to nurture all across the board from a holistic perspective, as you will all begin to see. So I'm going to share again a PowerPoint in a few moments. And again, I thank you all for coming in and joining with us today. Again, we're getting ready presently for the March 19th gathering. Also, Sister Jay, who is one of our key coordinators for Washington, D.C., we'll be sending folks to her and others very soon to be a part of the coordinating committee that'll be a part of the hosting team for the Million Woman World March in October in Washington, D.C. And note, this is a kickoff. This is not just an event. This is an awakening to keep us woke, as they say. But it's also a demonstration to show consistency, commitment, tenacity, capability, and more. So with the Million Woman World March, this is what is about to unfold. And again, this is for all of our women, no matter what nationality, ethnicity, religion, economic status, education, political affiliation. None of that is the primary. It'll all have its place in some aspect of this, but the primary is who we are as one, that divine energy and element as one Black woman. That's who the original mother is. That's the essence that we're coming back into and being and representing. And so as we now talk about what's going on in our communities, particularly with these young sisters, if we can't say simultaneously what Black women are doing collectively, unifiedly, in the context of connecting it across the country first here in the US, because there's a specific dynamic that has to be dealt with here in the US. And then we broaden that, of course, throughout North America and then the diaspora. But first things are first. So again, our young sisters here are now going to have the kinds of connection, not mentoring. We're talking about sistoring and rites of passage, and not just the RITES, but the RIGHTS of passages for our women and girls. So these are some of the things that you will hear about at our upcoming conference, shall I say convention, and then of course the summit that will be a part of the Million Woman World March that will take place again in October. And by the way, that's the US version of it. In December, we're looking to go into one of the CARICOM countries. And then next year, we plan to take the Million Woman World March to Africa. So we had a 10-year plan and projection. And again, very soon we will share with you some of the specifics. But for we say history is in the making today. As you can see with the Million Woman March, we covered the gambit. We covered it all. And so we will continue to do that, connecting what we call the Black dots, not just again in our communities, of course in our communities, but also nationally and internationally. Sister Celine mentioned earlier about what's happening there in Cameroon. We've been talking with our sisters all over the globe, but with Cameroon, we already have hundreds of products that our sisters are making themselves. So we've already created a marketplace that will be online for our women all over the diaspora, US and the diaspora, who can now sell their items online. And we'll tell you all about some of that as we proceed. But again, this is part of what is going to happen with starting in March, when we start meeting with the women that's coming in from the diaspora. This happens every year. Sisters come in for 2 weeks to be a part of the United Nations program. Well, we want to make sure that our sisters are able to greet them this year in a way that has not happened before. And what I mean by that is from both a cultural perspective, a political perspective, but also from a holistic, universal African woman perspective. Our women here need to be able to meet and greet the sisters that are coming into the US next month, but to be able to connect with them, not just from the petty bourgeoisie arena. And yes, I said that for a purpose, because I want to make sure that folks understand we are extremely inclusive, but at the same time, we make certain that our women have as much access to what we're doing, no matter what their station in life is. We are very inclusive, and we have demonstrated that from the gate. So we say we are one, but we're also number one. Black woman, you are now number one. And what now needs to happen to help bring our people forward? How do we know that? Take a look at our communities nationwide. It speaks for itself. And we know we must do something different now, or something else. We must advance that. So with the Million Woman March and its universal movements, we say we come from march to movements. We started with a march, but we connected it to the movements of the past. The Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mary Bethune, Nannie Helen Burroughs, the Black Panther Party, the Republic of New Africa, Stephen Biko. Many who have come before us is who we have studied and embraced. Not just movements, but our scholars, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Julia Hare and Nathan Hare, Chenka Joke, and so forth. These are some of the people we have studied and now have brought forward from their work some of what you are now about to see. So we're not trying to take credit for all of this or a major part of it. This comes from our ancestors, as you will see. As you can see here, we must honor our ancestors. This year is to close out for the International Decade for African People. This was declared by the United Nations. But yet here in the US, how many know about this? And it's in existence for 10 years. And particularly sisters, what is our position? Where's our voices? And not in this kind of endeavor, but in almost anything. Where is the Black voice in terms of our movements? Now, again, I have to be critical here because the increase of violence and abuse of our women and girls in the US, and we're not even going to talk about Africa just yet, but we will. But the increase of violence and abuse in the US, sex trafficking, kidnapping, murder, rape, molestation, pedophilia, it has increased in the past 10 years like most can't even believe. but we're going to start bringing you some of the stats from various cities that we've researched so that you will know that what we're saying is not only valid, but is warranted in action. Because here's what we know. Everybody has a mother. Most have a sister, a daughter, a wife, and a loved one of a female of African descent. And if we think we're not doing, or if we think we're doing the service and the justice for that group of our people, then think again, because we are not. And so March the 8th is International Women's Day. Now that's for all women. But how many know that there is an African Women's Day that used to be called Pan-African Women's Day? And so this year, we're going to celebrate it with a conference and have our first Global African Women's Heritage Parade. We'll tell you more about that as we proceed. The United Nations of African Women is now underway. This means that our sisters now will have the kind of representation and voice like none others. We've never had a United Nations of African Women. We do now. And so again, we say we are from the grassroots through the glass ceiling. This way is totally encompassing. And as you can see, our sisters are going to connect hand to hand together as we proceed in this endeavor. Women's History Month is March. It's a national observance, but it's also an international observance, which is why, again, I spoke that March the 8th is International Women's Day. So all over the country, women all over the world, rather, do something on that day. Well, we're going to do something on March 19th, where we're asking African women all over the world to do something on that day. No matter what city you're in, country you're in, village you're in, community you're in, we're asking our women on that day something. 12 o'clock noon is what we're focusing on, but we know the time will be a variation depending on where you're at. But the idea is, let's put that energy together on that day. For those who are kind of into the, not astrology, but more of the astrology, okay, not astronomy rather, then you know that that day is actually the spring equinox. And that is why that day was selected, because we tend to work within the universal order, not other people's order. At least we try not to any great degree. I mean, of course, we're in the system, so we have to comply to some extent, but we will exercise to the best of our abilities those things that most cannot touch. And so again, from a universal context, as the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the Honorable Amy Jackson Garvey taught us, we focus on universalness of us all. So again, on March 19th, we will be at the United Nations. We've had one of our brothers to already do a logistical overview, and so we realized that our initial thing of holding hands around the United Nations is not feasible because of several things. One is the highway and so forth. So we now have said we will do across the United Nations, but at the same time, across the world. And what we mean by that is, again, sisters, no matter what city you're in, we are expecting our sisters to do something in their city, in their country, whatever, that holds hands and connects us with that energy, with that synergy. Again, we will give you some of the issues that we're focusing on. I mentioned one, of course, that's the issue of violence and abuse. But we also are going to do meditation and prayer for justice and for peace. Before we move from this page, we want you to know that MWM now has what we call Sister Saints. We've selected 25 women of African descent that we now hold them in high regard. Now, again, not worship, we hold them in high regard, which means we honor them, their work. So the 25 Sister Saints initiative will be an installment process. Again, we'll talk more about that at the upcoming National Black Women's Power and Political Convention. The 25 Sister Saints, each of them will have a program, special project, or initiative based on their work. So essentially, each, say for example, as you see in the photo there, Mother Callie House, it will be now Saint Callie House. And so based on her work of reparations or reparatory justice, specific programming will be designed or presented based on her work with ex-slave compensation, pension, etc. She had estimated 300,000 members in the 1800s. So with that said, we can do no less. Of course, Queen Mother Moore, same thing with reparations and other kinds of endeavors, taking petition to the United Nations in 1958. Again, we have the examples and we will now continue their work. With that said, here in the U.S., we are working on, for the convention, we will make the decision on the final two that we want to present to the masses of our people for there to be a national holiday for a Black woman here in the U.S. So the convention coming up next month, the sisters who participate in the latter part of that convention will have the say as to who it is we will be presenting to the masses of our people in order for it to be a national campaign for a holiday for a Black woman. We have one for Dr. Martin Luther King. We also have Juneteenth. The question has been raised, is it not time for there to be a holiday for a Black woman? And the answer is yes, it's past time. And so we will now move forward accordingly with the Million Woman World March to bring that into fruition. Going back to the month of March, again, the United Nations, the Commission on the Status of Women this year is known as the CSW 68, and that means it's the 68th session that the United Nations has held to focus specifically on the issues of women and girls. Now, again, in the past, the information, the capability of obtaining resources and other kinds of things has not been accessible to the everyday sister. Many who have attended these kinds of events over the years tend to keep this information and the things that go with that to themselves. So the everyday Black woman and girl has no clue about any of this. This is a problem, and it now will be addressed as we present now the various components to assure that all of our women and girls will in fact have a level of equity and justice and self-determination. And again, not in such a way that the corporations can use us to further their agenda and their advantages. We're not having it. And so we've created the Million Woman Party, which we'll tell you more about that at another time. But again, the Commission on the Status of African Women is what we now have, so that as we engage now with other women, we have our own unit, our own cadre that will be able to represent and present our issues based on research, experiences, lobbying, etc. On March 19th, we proceed with one of our programs, which is also one of our societies. The African Women Gather is a society within the Million Woman World March. In this particular instance, it is the African Women in White, because we plan to be in New York at the United Nations, all in white. We want to have a visual effect. And so again, because our focus is to help bring about as much peace amongst ourselves and our people as possible, we want to make sure that we're able to exemplify a certain decor or decorum. And so we again will be at the United Nations on March 19th. We will assemble at 11 a.m. and then begin with the rally and the hands, holding hands at 12 o'clock noon. This is again, hands around and across the United Nations and the world. And our message is, we are one. Presently, coordinating teams are now being put in place for the March 19th activity. And so for those who are interested in coordinating teams, we need you to begin to sign up immediately. It's for communications, programming, logistics, coordination. That entails, of course, the actual assembly, but also the rally and the forum that will follow after the rally. The sisters will be able to come together to have a meet and greet, and also to be able to begin to formulate some of our think tanks, because the issues that we are talking about, which will begin to show you some of that as we share more with you about the We Charge Genocide 21 project, which features or presents a minimum of 21 issues: gentrification, COINTELPRO, political prisoners. Those are some of the issues that you will hear now our sisters talk more about. Of course, reparations, reparatory justice. But we have our own formulas for these things. We call that R4J. And for those who are interested in, say, reparations or whatever area we present to you, there will be a committee, task force, research team, and also study group connected to each area. But again, for the present committees, the spiritual and cultural committee, because again, we want to be cognizant of everyone's needs as best as we possibly can. So that committee will work in that capacity. The welcoming committee, again, they're sisters that'll be coming in from all parts of the diaspora. We want to be able to meet and greet them. And so that welcoming committee will make a determination on what will that entail. Of course, moving on, we have, there are the speakers and the guests and the VIPs. That committee will have to address or interact in that manner. The finance and fundraising committee speaks for itself. The product development, again, is there anything we want to have available or make available as part of memorabilia or other kinds of things? So that committee will focus on the development of that product development. The issue of violence and abuse, well, that's just one of several areas, but we're talking about action. And so that committee needs to be getting ready to provide not only information, but proposals, such as the development of an app that will allow any of our people who are interested in knowing when there is an alert put out for a missing Black woman or girl in whatever city that you're in. So again, we're looking at the development of an app that will come directly to your phone to make you aware that that this needs to be put out there. So again, that committee and a few of the other task force committees, we are expecting them to bring forward some possibilities, some suggestions, and other kinds of things when we have the session after the assembly, after the rally. Sisterhood solidarity. Well, this, in developing not only this global movement, but this sisterhood, one of the things that is being asked for sisters when they come to the U.S., we're asking them to bring a piece of cloth. We'll have the measurements for them very shortly, but also the sisters that come in March for New York, but also the sisters that come in October or any of our events as we lead up to other activities or other special assemblies. The reason is we plan to make our own quilts to provide the training, as well as to make certain that every city or state has a quilt. The quilt will consist of fabric, pieces of fabric that the women will provide. And those quilts will bring us together in a not only symbolic, but also in a kind of spiritual context, from a historical perspective, as well as from a traditional perspective. Ultimately, within 3 years or so, we plan to take those quilts on exhibit. But again, that's one of the more protracted things. But again, it starts now. We want our women and girls to be involved in making history today and continuing some of those legacies. So again, we're asking folks to put the word out, to have our sisters to begin to prepare to provide us with very small pieces of fabric. I think it's like 2 by 2 or something like that. I don't have the exact measurements just yet, but again, we will be making our own quilts with our grandmothers and our mothers and our aunties and our daughters. These are some of the activities that we know is going to help us to heal, tell our own story, but also to create a bond amongst us as women and girls, as African women. Security and safety, of course, brothers, that definitely is right for you, sisters too, but again, we are not only expecting, we are requesting that our brothers take a very key position in this role. The world needs to see the Black man. The world needs to see the Black man in the capacity of them standing up with and for their mothers and daughters and sisters. This is something that needs to happen. Our young girls need to see this. Our young males need to see it too. But again, this is something that we're asking our men to be very adamant about, that we are very serious now about raising up the mother of civilization. And with that, we're also very serious about self-defense. And while we're asking our brothers to play a major role in this, let's be real clear, sisters, we plan to have our own army. Yes, I said it. And we will bring you the information at our convention as to how that's about. We have asked over the years for certain types of, unfortunately, we have not gotten it in the manner that we should have, to the degree that we should have. So now we're not asking and we're not waiting. We will do this by any and all means necessary. The EMS committee, of course, those who have medical background or some other kinds of safety kinds of training or information, we would like for them to be involved in the EMS component, because whenever you do any kind of assembly, there should be some entities there that have experience in first aid and other kinds of things. This, of course, is a responsible way to do various things, and we want to make sure that that's going to happen. By the way, we have connected with the Black veterans in New York. There's a group called the Black Veterans for Justice. We have a meeting coming up with them very soon, so we do anticipate our Black veterans joining us for this gathering in New York on March the 19th. Lastly, of course, is transportation. And there'll be some other committees possibly added on here, but these are some of the key things now. Again, we want to make sure that that's coordinated. New York is a crazy city, and so we will be meeting with city officials. By the way, I don't know if Sister Sheila is in queue yet, but Sister Sheila is beginning to connect with some of the Black women politicians in New York, because again, we are inclusive. We do want to extend invitations, and we also want people to do their jobs. And one of their jobs is, of course, to help facilitate various things in their cities. Any elected official has that responsibility, and it is our position to make certain that we now begin to hold people more accountable to service their constituents to a greater extent. Again, we are one. This is just an example of a quilt that we saw. Again, we plan to create and to implement the concepts of Kwanzaa or Nguza Saba. To have the conversations about these things are nice, but to put it in place is another. So in the spirit of Kaumba and Nia, we will be creating our own global Africana women's quilt projects. And again, we're asking sisters, or we'll be asking sisters, to bring their own pieces of fabric to be a part of this oneness that we're talking about in producing, that is artistic as well as, again, healing. Lastly, for this particular presentation, our goal is to have 1 million members, starting with $1. Now, we have other memberships available as well, but this one is important because, again, we know that Mother Callie House, St. Callie House, had at least 300,000. And again, we can do no less. But we also have various projects that we're bringing into fruition now that includes training sisters to sew, to make certain that skills are presented or provided for our women and girls as we proceed, so that people know this is not just about a march. This is, in fact, not only a movement, but it's also the capability to support independent nations and entities of that type, and also the development of new nations. With that said, our membership drive is now underway. We look to obtain 1 million members, starting with $1. And again, there should be no excuse not to support this. We have other areas that we're going to focus on to generate revenue. We mentioned one of them last night, which is for the youth. In the next session, we'll talk more about our youth and young adults, their Kaumba Nia project, where we're going to be asking them to participate in a contest, for lack of a better word, where they will provide designs for our footwear. That's right. We're asking our youth, those who draw or have other creative kinds of capabilities of graphics, we're going to ask them to assist in producing some of our products that we're getting ready. And one of them is going to be footwear. Again, going back to Sister Celine, we also already have available a line of jewelry, handcrafted. Also bags and other accessories, like handbags, other accessories, crowns, hats. We already have an abundance of that already coming in from the continent. But we want to also produce some right here in the US. The first group that we will focus on training is sisters who have come out of prison, because many times they do not get the kinds of possibilities, opportunities, and so forth. And so we want to take on that responsibility to help to give them the incentive of, and not just incentive, but the capability of self-esteem, self-determination, self-respect. And so we already have a sister who has agreed to do the training here in Philly for the first sewing classes. And then we will prepare to produce our own garment. And I won't go into the details of that right now, but we already have outlined our first garment. So again, we have a level of revenue streams that are being put in place. And as we proceed, particularly at the convention, you will hear more about that. So I'm going to stop here because this is a lot already. And I'm going to close out with that. And then we're going to go back to Brother Lumumba to see if there's any questions or comments for you, or from you rather. And I thank you all again for your patience, your time, and for want to be here with us. And again, we look forward to working with all of you. We call you all our serious family. Serious because the people known as the Dogon gave us a message, and we heard it, and we are now bringing it forward. They talked about a star that existed long before it was seen by other people, long before there was a telescope rather. There was a group of our people who talked about the star and said that there was also a smaller star next to it. And now it's known to be as such. So that group of people had already prepared us for some things that was to come. So we now say that you are our serious family, and we welcome you and we thank you. Back to you, Brother Lumumba.
All right. Give thanks. Much appreciated. Before we get into the question and comment portion, I just wanted to allow, there was a few people that joined us a little bit later in the Zoom. So I just wanted to allow them an opportunity to introduce themselves to the family. All right. So we can make sure we're touching base and getting acquainted with one another. With that being said, I want to come to Chief Elder. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective. Give thanks, Chief Elder. And we're just trying to keep the intros to about a minute.
Oh, greetings, Chief Elder. Real quickly, this is one of our elder advisors. And again, we have wise elder advisors. So greetings, Chief.
All right, Chief Elder, if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Okay, there might be some issue with the audio there. I'm gonna come back around. I'm gonna go on to Sheikh Imam Akbar. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective. All right, give thanks, Brother Ahmad. All right. Again, in order to unmute yourself, you do have to click on to the microphone button in order to unmute yourself. All right. I'm going to come back around. I want to move on to Sister Nancy. If you could unmute yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gift, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing. Sister Nancy, give thanks.
Hi, I'm Nancy Cato. I'm from Cato Creations. That's my business, and I was invited by Asala Hakuya, Queen Asala Hakuya. Yeah, that's my thing. I do illustration, cartoons, greeting cards, illustrations. Yeah, that's my thing.
All right, give thanks. And where are you calling from?
Oh, San Francisco.
All right, give thanks. Thank you for joining us. Much appreciated. All right, and coming over to a Zoom user. That's what your icon says. If you can unmute yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing or affiliated with. And that is Zoom user. Again, you have to click on the microphone and
this is Veronica Nikki. The violence of the atomic bomb, but a very important concept. Which means excuse me.
If you could just turn down the volume to whatever device, whatever you listen to background. All right, yeah. If you could just introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing.
Veronica Nikki, I am representing today. I will say UAM, you know.
Hey, Sister Mickey.
Yes, beloved. And I'll leave it at that. I'll listen.
Where are you calling in from?
New York.
Okay. All right. Good. Thanks. With that being said, I want to come over back to Chief Elder. I'm not sure if you got your audio together, but if you can unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the family. Okay. Hopefully we can get the audio together there. And one more time for Shaky Mom, if you could introduce yourself, unmute yourself for the family. Okay, hopefully we can get those together before we close out. But again, in order to unmute yourself, you do have to hit the microphone icon and you can unmute yourself there. Okay, with that being said, I want to open the floor up once again. All right, for any questions or comments. So if we could, if you're able to use your gesture button, there is a gesture button under more. You can do reactions and you can raise your hand using that, or you can raise your hand in the physical sense on the screen, or you can unmute yourself if we can do so in an orderly fashion. All right, is there any questions, comments?
Free the land. This brother Jami Lukman.
All right, yes, sir.
The sister in her introduction and presentation concerning the Million Woman March, she mentioned Dr. Julia Hare, and she said that this was not feminism or Black feminism that was being promoted, and that promoting the African woman or the Black woman as the origin of everything that was avoiding there should be no conflicts with anything or anybody else. So first of all, I couldn't actually hear her name, and I would like to know her name. And second, my question is this: I studied the feminism, Black feminism, Africana womanism, and I've wrote I can't say a lot, but I wrote on them. And when she mentioned Dr. Julia Hare, it took me to some of my writings in the fact that Dr. Julia Hare was patriarchal. She didn't denounce patriarchy. And another author, Dr. Francis Quest West, when speaking about the Black family, similarly was patriarchal and did not denounce patriarchy. And of course, we all know Dr. Sherazad Ali was wrote about the Black family, about the Black woman and the Black man, and she was patriarchal. So in the sister who wrote Africana Womanism, or who first coined the term,
Dr. Cleona Weems.
Yeah, she did not mention any of those three icons and great scholars dealing with the Black family in her work.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to know, because if you have any philosophy of womanhood, Black womanhood, or Africana womanhood that don't pay homage to these three great Black women thinkers, I'm hard pressed. So that's what I want you to comment on.
Okay, so I'll go to the first thing that you asked. So my name is, well, I have several. I'm gonna give you all, or at least a larger portion of it. My name is Sister Empress Dr. Philae Chionesu. I have an honorary doctor's degree in African religion, ritual, and spirituality. I was given that degree, honorarily speaking, by a Black man by the name of Dr. Kwabena Ashanti, who is actually the actual writer of the Willie Lynch letter. To fast forward, I'm also Nana because I have been installed in my community. And I'm Empress because I happen to have the opportunity as a very young student to sit with the great Nina Simone. And just her and I exchanged information. And I said, one day I will honor her for her work and all that she had to endure. And so in developing the Million Woman March, it kept a lot of things in mind of our women who come before me and how we could honor their work and their capability. And so I took on the name Empress to honor Nina Simone and to make certain that she and other great women could be brought forward in a certain manner, such as Hatshepsut, Queen Mother Moore, and others. Now, to go back to your other question about philosophy, methodology, and so forth, I've been studying this for over 30 years. I was a student at the University, Temple University. I was a religion major and a pre-law minor. I was a legal runner for Mumia Abu-Jamal when I was in college, before the trial, and have been working to free him ever since. He is also my son's godfather. To fast forward, I have had conversations with the great Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, even before she wrote the ISIS papers. I wrote, or rather, I had read some of her work when she was publishing in Black Times Audio. I'm sorry, not Black Times Audio, Black Scholar. The point is this, brother, it has taken us 2.5 decades to get to this point. And I've had these conversations with people, but yet at the same time, when I ask them, what is your plan? What are you bringing forward that is going to help alleviate this increase of what is happening? Now, I'm from Philly, so I'm very familiar with Sister Scheherazade Ali. And I know more about that than I will speak about at this time. But I will also say this. I have never, ever done anything to lessen the capability, the quality of our brothers. I always make certain that they are placed in a position of whatever they want to be. However, and again, you and I can have another conversation about some things, but I will say this. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, I was one of his advisors for the Million Youth March. Also, he gave me a public apology here in Philadelphia when he came to Philadelphia and organizing the Million Youth March, because I went to him first when I was organizing the Million Woman March to ask his support as a Black man. And because he didn't know me and didn't believe this was going to happen, he really didn't take me seriously. But after the Million Woman March, he came to Philadelphia and at a press conference literally apologized in front of all who were in attendance. Because what he said was, regardless of what he knew about me or knew of me or whatever, he should have stepped up. And after that time, made a pledge that he would always do whatever he could in support. Which is why now, with members of the new Black Panther Party, we have this connection, whether most realize it or not. It's really because of Dr. Khalid, because he made that promise and pledge. And yes, I did speak at the Million Youth March. So now, to go back to answering a few or responding to a few of what you said, regardless of what Dr. Julia Hare or Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, regardless of what they said or did, and that's fine. I'm here today. And I do that in a graceful manner, and I do that with much respect. But at the same time, for years now, I've listened and watched some of these questions about certain things. Yet there is little put forward to help render certain things. And at this stage of the game, we are in a crisis. We're always in a crisis, but we're in one now. Last night, we showed a film or part of a film. We had Dr. Kokai with us, who, of course, we're bringing forward Dr. Matula Shakur's method, because we know an epidemic is coming. If you're in Philadelphia or in a few other cities, what you will see in the white community is something that you have not seen before. And it's coming into the Black community. And so we already know that particularly our sisters, just like with crack cocaine, they are going to be a target. Because once you do it with the women, you automatically are able to do it with the children. And the enemy knows that. So lastly, and I'm going to wrap that up, we're going to move on. Unless somebody comes to me with a plan of action that you're ready to move with, other than that, guess what? This is going down. And I have to say it like that, because I've spent 2 decades going back and forth, back and forth. Well, did you do this? Did you say that? Did you do this? No, this is not the time for it now. We can talk about all that later. Right now, we have a plan of action. Those who are down with it, love you, want you, respect you, honor you. Those who are not, guess what? Tutanana. Kwaheri. That's
Hello?
what it is now.
Okay. Hello?
Okay, I'm moving on. Abel Lumumba, what
Okay.
you got next?
Can I get a question now?
Yes, brother. It's yes, my brother.
Yes.
Right.
Your argument, Black women empowerment is on
Quick,
point. Do you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
let me.
We got Brother Issa coming up next. Thank you.
Yeah, give me 1 second. All right, I got Dr. Issa coming up. We're going to get to his question. And I just wanted to just add on to that last aspect by saying that traditionally, if we study African history, we can see that matriarchy, along with patriarchy, is very well present and honored. So let's not make confusions about Eurocentrism and things that go on, throughout the Western world with our traditions, history, and legacy. All right, with that being said, I want to move on to Brother Issa White.
Yes, thank you. Sister Dr. Fala, your argument was on point and convincing. The whole element of Black women empowerment, that's what's happening. It has to be. For the brother who just spoke, it all goes back, if you want to study the Black family, it all goes back to 1939 with E. Franklin Frazier's book, The Negro Family in America. That's where you have to begin to look at this whole component. But my comment and question is that what you're doing is tremendous. I would like for you to include a subject that I did work on, and I put it in the chat. I did a piece on a woman by the name of Laura Adorka Kofi, who I wrote is the mother of Black nationalism or the female Marcus Garvey from
Yeah.
Kumasi, Ghana, came into the United States in 1917 to join the Marcus Garvey movement. In fact, in many respects, she was outdrawing Marcus Garvey at many venues throughout the country. However, because of, sadly, male chauvinism, she was ousted from the UNIA. But she ultimately developed a group called the African Universal Church and Commercial League. And by 1921, 22, she had over 100,000 followers that was in Mississippi, Southern Georgia, Florida. And she created her own community in Jacksonville known as the Dorkerville. Ultimately, in 1928, while she was speaking in Liberty City and Liberty Hall in Miami, a couple of Marcus Garvey's men rushed the stage and assassinated her, much like they did Malcolm X. The importance of this is that, you know, she was killed on 28th of March. You're having your activity. We're going to be in the UN in March. And it would be nice to include her because she is a story that most African Americans don't know, most white Americans don't know. And most scholars haven't even touched, except for myself. So I will send to you information about that. That's just a little side note.
Yes.
And sadly, and next, are you going to do anything? Are you going to make a definitive statement on female mutilation?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Issa, I'm so glad you mentioned that. And again, we're here to be of service in the context of whatever our people bring to us that they think we need to look at, do, or whatever, we are amenable to that. We're just not, you know, we're not in the modality of dealing with nonsense. Been there, done that. Our people are suffering and to keep going back and forth with certain things. So for what you're saying, one of the things that we're presenting to our sisters is the development of our National Black Women's History Project, but also expanding that into the African Women's Studies. Because when you go to these different colleges, they have women's studies departments, but there's little to nothing there about African women. And that's on us.
Right.
While we have all of these scholars and educators and so forth, we're not synchronizing the work well enough to be able to create mandates and demands. And so these women's study departments, we need to make certain that there is adequate representation of our history, etc. So again, this is part of this movement. But first things are first, meaning, and again, I welcome the information. I've heard of the woman, the Black woman, the African woman that you spoke of. And again, there's so much that we don't know about our people, needless to say, but certainly as it pertains to our women. Because remember, you know, here's some facts. This is just math here that I'm getting ready to say. The young girls that are now 12 years old to 20 years old, that's going to be somebody's mommy in a minute. That's going to be somebody's mother. So if we do not do the necessary things that helps to deter what they're now going to be faced, we're not only looking at the destruction of that Black female, we're looking at further destruction of that next generation. So if someone has an argument for me that is going to help me know how we're going to approach that and help alleviate that, then I will be quiet. But until then, it's not going to happen. We are in a very serious situation now. And with this new drug, with this new drug that's getting ready to hit, we better be very clear. We already saw crack. We've already seen COVID. And again, one of the things that we'll be presenting in our communities nationwide is a Black emergency response and preparedness program. We have a sister who has already presented at the United Nations level that is ready to present in our communities specialized stuff for our communities to deal with emergency response and preparedness. We're not doing that in our communities, or for the most. And so for our sisters to have some insight and information and capability, again, we know that oftentimes the children are in the household with the woman. If there is an emergency, for example, if a child should swallow something, poison, the average, particularly young sister, she's not going to know what to do while she's waiting for help. Our women need to be more responsible in helping our young daughters and our older women too, just know some basic fundamentals. Our mom used to teach us. So we're saying now plans of action that is geared to make certain that we do what we're supposed to do as Black women. This is what I'm telling folks. We're going to stay in our lane. We suggested others stay in theirs.
All right. Give
You're on point. You're on point. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
Being said, I want to come over to Chief Elder. Yes, if you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group in your organization that you might be affiliated with.
Yes, sir. I'd like to say to you, we're thankful to all of you as a network, but a special thanks, and she says to give thanks, the Queen and the Empress, Chalet, we call it Chalet, but she's an extraordinary woman and an extraordinary Black woman in time. There's a need to rebuild and rejuvenate the Black woman. And I think it's right on time, everything I've heard today. I'm extremely impressed, and I hope you all continue. This is Sheikh Ali Imam Akbar, Washington, D.C. Anything I can do to aid and assist, we are here to facilitate, to help in any effort to help the Black man, woman, and child to get up, to rejuvenate, and to recuperate. Been in a very strange phenomenon, peculiar brand of iniquity, but certainly we can break that as a temporary state and get up to our prominence. We have the building blocks and just have to build. Now, for Sheikh Imam Akbar, I have a C-letter type of talent. I relate to the C-letters such as cars, computers, and construction. I can help. Anything related to Cash for Children's College. I have 7 children, 27 grandchildren, 5 great-grands, and I stay busy. Construction carpenter, construction engineer, another C-letter there. And as well, we do cooking, cleaning, and catering on a professional level. We can help there. I've been a chaplain in this city 50 years, so anything we can do to help you with any form of spirituality, maybe we can aid and assist. But certainly we do clothing and carpets and a lot of other things that go with the C letters. I've been a chaplain and a cleric. So whatever we can do to facilitate, we're here. And we are currently erecting a 5-story edifice here in Washington. And we do asphalt and concrete and steel. So anything related to that, and that's my area of expertise. But I thank you all for always joining, and to help the sister, we should all, nationwide and worldwide, join in to support our Empress, because she's doing phenomenal work in the spirit of Winnie Mandela, in the same spirit of all of those great Queen Nzinga and Queen Nefertiti and anyone else that was trying to get us to go up. So I thank you all and thank her for her great leadership skills in bringing all of these networks together, just like a good chef. And we're all happy when we see it all come together. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and Black Power.
Thank you, Brother Akbar. One sidebar before we go to Chief Elder. I just want to say, because the brother mentioned something I have to share, if you allow me. Queen Mother Winnie Mandela, we are bringing forward her spirit in terms of the work that she is known to have done, of course, in Azania, South Africa. And again, just as a sidebar, when our sister was under grave attack in 1997, there were very few groups, organizations in particular here in the U.S. that came to her support. She was being attacked by the South African government and set up by both the South African government and the United States government. She was being charged with heinous crimes. And of course, they were going to attempt to incarcerate her in 1997, those who know the history. She was due to go to trial in December, I believe, of 1997. We brought her to Philadelphia to be in front of the masses so that they could put love and protection around our mother. She went back to South Africa after speaking at the Million Woman March. She was not indicted. She did not go to jail. So again, we can prove that our strategies work. Again, we had a message read to us from Sister Assata Shakur. It was read to us in English and in Spanish, because 20 years ago, we didn't have access to live stream and all of that then. But we had her message sent to us that was read in Spanish and in English. This gave that generation direct words from a woman that they knew nothing about until they came to the Million Woman March or heard about it. They didn't know that a $1 million bounty was on her head. That soon became a $2 million bounty. So the Million Woman March helped to make certain that that kind of information and positioning could occur. So I just wanted to give that sidebar so that people are not confused with what's really going on here. It's a surface thing that we say those who want to just deal with the event, that's fine. It's wonderful. It's festive. But there is a very in-depth political application here like none other. Back to you, Brother Lumumba.
All right, give thanks. Much appreciated. With that being said, I want to bring on Chief Elder Minister John Henry. All right. Before I do that, I just want to make sure that if everyone could, make sure you're putting your information in the chat. Those who want to share and build and connect with one another. That way, simultaneously, while we're building towards this great movement, we can also be helping one another and building in our organizations and our organizing efforts. So if you feel so inclined, please put your information in the chat. So those who might be in need of your services or products, then they can get in contact with you and be able to follow up with you accordingly. All right. And also just to give a bit more information, we do have our next meeting for our men's group, for our mentorship and rites of passage program with the Mighty Meiotic Men of Valor Action Network. That's going to be coming up for next Monday. It's going to be a bi-weekly meeting that we're having virtually. And we're also looking to have a physical location in the very near future as well. My information is in the chat, and so you can follow up with me on well. We're going to be streaming on Zoom as well as Facebook Live. All right, with that being said, I want to bring on Chief Elder. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities to which you share with the collective, and any group, any to your organization that you might be representing or affiliated with. Give thanks, Chief Elder.
Well, tap and blessing. Let me give this, recite this prayer for everyone that's around the world. Hotep and blessing, sending out positive energy for healing and spiritual growth and protection around the world. I want to lean on what Empress has spoken of, and Labamba, I appreciate you, my brother. We come too far to be trying to reinvent the wheel. If we don't pull it all together now, it's a wrap. You don't even have to look for the next 5 years if we don't do it now. I try to give my best spiritual advice to many organizations. I did 5 state of address emergency preparedness live on Facebook and YouTube 1 year before the pandemic, the fake pandemic or plandemic. A lot of us conscious and awakened people are saying now, because it was a plandemic. Empress has been fighting on this line for our liberation as a great people and a great nation. She's the only goddess that I know on this planet to this day is still on the struggle. So I bow and I praise you, and I definitely send our ancestors to cover all of this madness in these days that's ahead, like Empress has spoke of. But I'll say it like this. The next 2 months, we're going to be experiencing some dreadful things that's unimaginable. Unimaginable. I'm asking everyone that hears my voice, prepare a bag just in case you have to exit it out of your home. I'm going to say that again. Prepare a bag just in case you have to exit it out your home. Because like what Empress is saying, we should have our own national preparedness team set up in every state and every city by now, because we know we can't lean on this government. We never to lean on this government in total support for reparations or anything that we put on the table. My team, while I was in South Carolina, I am now in Raymondburg, Ohio. Back in June the 16th, 2016, we created an economic development plan that is Save Our Youth and Family Annual March. Created an economic development plan for the whole state of South Carolina that targets our people, specifically the Gullah Geechee Nation, which I am a part of, the Ngullah people of South Carolina. I am the chief over the whole state of South Carolina, and soon to be the chief over the whole state of Ohio. So as I'm networking and strategizing and collecting information and picking members or elders to be a part of the Council of Elders that we will truly need as we move on, because we need an entity, our own entity, that is going to represent us as a people, just like the Europeans have their system of government. We need our own system of government that is set in place to respond to any national disaster or any human affairs concerns. That's what needs to be established. I am so deeply troubled in my spirit, and I can't cut through the chase. For the Nation of Islam, respectfully, not to aid and assist our Queen Empress at all. Maybe they did a little bit. I haven't heard of it. But I know from a distance, I haven't seen or heard anything at all. But you call yourself a nation. What, you just a nation of Chicago and not the whole entire planet? Respectfully, if I can't call them out, then I take my own title away from me. That's why they called me Chief Elder Minister, because I don't shuck a jive. I don't sugarcoat. I put it out there in the universe and I let it bounce back where it needs to bounce back at. And I'm truly guided by our ancestors in the flesh, in the flesh. Out of all of our ancestors that didn't make it here in the shores of North America, over 600,000 didn't make it. But their lives and their sacrifices is not unnoticed. At least in my realm, it's not unnoticed. So I lean heavily on everyone that hears my voice. Aid and support Empress with anything that you can do. Anything that you can do. I am requesting this as Chief Elder for everyone. Pass the information and share it far as wide. Now, I realize that everybody is not waking. There's a lot of us that is awakened and enlightened. And when I use that word enlightened, that means that they are aware of what's around us and what we are dealing with. Before I conclude with this message, I was bringing this by my chief elder, and she wants to buy a new home. I said, respectfully, yes, that would be good if it was another time and era. But why have a new home when the enemy is outside your door 24/7, waiting to take that kill shot? There's too many of our fallen soldiers and queens and princesses being detained, being shot, being slaughtered, and not branching off of what's going on over there in the Congo. The things that were sent to my email is devastating to even speak of.
That's right.
For us to be melanated people. I don't like using that word black because my hat is black and I'm not that black. I'm melanated. So we have to make sure we watch the terminologies that we use that has positive effect on our people and try our best to get out of this mindset of these Europeans because it took them a while to get us messed up like this. Respectfully. So as I conclude, I love y'all. I'm sending out positive energy for healing and spiritual growth and protection around the world. Ashe, ashe, asheo.
Ashe.
Thank you.
John,
Much
Chief
appreciated.
Elder, if I may, is this the same Chief Elder? Because it's the same John D. Henry that Mama Sherry Suttles talk about from the Gullah Geechee group. Is this the same Chief Elder?
Yes, I
I'm
am.
looking. Oh, look at
Yes,
God.
I am. Yes, I
Man,
am. Yes, I
man,
am.
sir, it's an honor. It's an honor. And I tell you, Mama Sherry, she's not doing well right now, and we need to pull her in. And to see you today, sir, I just thank God for Empress Chi and this platform. So I really need to connect with you. Thank you, sir, for
Okay.
the work you've done.
Okay, thank you. I'll put my information in the chat, and after this broadcast, you can call me directly. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. I
Peace and
appreciate you
blessings.
coming out. Peace and blessing. Hotep.
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. Give thanks, much appreciated. Thank you for that, Chief Elder. I just wanted to give a brief caveat to that. Just speaking on and everything he said, I definitely appreciate and give power to. I just wanted to just bring a little bit of clarity to the terminology of Black. And when we're speaking of Black, we're not talking about the color, we're actually talking about the essence, right? And when we're talking about Kemet, we're talking about land of the Blacks, right? And so when we're dealing with Black, we're talking about the triple Black ethereal of space and time, right? And so we're talking about such as like the black hole. We're talking about Black is in the essence of the Black consciousness movement, right? Which is an ideal, not a reference to a color. All right. So I just wanted to clarify on that, right? It's a social political type of categorization. Okay.
Gave you a thumbs up, Brother Milton. I don't know. Did you see Chief Elder just gave you a thumbs up? He got it. Give thanks.
Like, appreciate it. All right. With that being said, I wanted to move to, we have a couple of hands up. I want to give opportunity for individuals to introduce themselves that just came into the room and also to weigh in on the conversation. So with that being said, I want to come over to Brother Shabaka. If you can introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, any to your organization that you belonging to or affiliated with. Brother Shabaka. You have to unmute yourself. Just click on the microphone button in order to unmute yourself. Okay. You have to unmute yourself. You have to click on the microphone icon in order to unmute yourself. All right. So I'm going to move on. Hopefully he can get the audio together on that.
Okay, brother, this is Shabaka. Can you hear me?
Hey, we can hear you now. Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, sorry I'm so late on the Zoom call. Greetings, Dr. Bay. Greetings, Sheikah Mom. Greeting all the African queens and what have you. Very, very bad news that just came across my desk right here. It is of major concern. As you know, they're getting ready to play this NFL Super Bowl out here, okay? And the CEO, the chief executive officer of a major Nigerian bank, I believe the brother's name is by the name of Sigway. Okay, he came up dead out in the deserts of Southern California with a helicopter crash. And from what I understand is that this brother here was doing some outreach and he was doing some major business investments in Nigeria. I do not know if he was trying to build a bridge between us here in the diaspora and Nigeria. But I just find it very, very interesting that they're going to sucker him to come over here, man, to go to this damn football game, okay? And then he comes up dead. And then the research that I'm gathering right now, and I will be in touch with Brother Paris on it, is that he controlled the major bank in Nigeria. Also, too, he was very, very instrumental in the government over there. And then looking at this white man's news is that they're very sad in Nigeria, but the man was a major power player and he might have been a threat on the economical basis because of the pandemic, scandemic, plandemic, whatever what you want to call it. These crackers hate us because they cannot be us. So if this man was controlling some economical power, then we are in some very, very serious trouble. Okay, this is why we created the hashtag resurrection of the mental dead, is because throughout the whole diaspora on the continent, in the Caribbean, here in the U.S., you know, it's all about our young men. Oh man, well, I'm a nigga and I'm a G and all this old type of bullshit. Excuse my language. I'm just being real. And we will be talking about this here on New Black Power Radio later on today and tomorrow, and also too on Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on Tuesday. And I just find it very, very interesting is that the CEO, his wife, his son was killed. Okay, very interesting. And then this man here was controlling wealth over in Nigeria. And I honestly believe what he was trying to do, and this is just my assumption, maybe he was trying to build on an international basis with us in the diaspora. And then as brother was saying is that everybody needs to get them some bug out bags together, is because with the dump as in human shit getting ready to get reselected, okay, regardless of what they're saying, is these white folks ain't playing and all we got is each other. Black family, I yield.
All right. Give thanks. Much appreciated. Thank you for sharing, Baba Shabaka. And yes, that yesterday we had a or the day before we had a conversation and we were speaking on that matter as well. So thank you for sharing that information.
Can I
yes, sir.
One moment, please? Could we, as we proceed, please be cognizant of the fact that we would like to keep the language in accordance with our elders?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. I was just going to say, just remain cognizant that we are also streaming on Facebook Live. So, you know, if we can just keep it on, you know, high intellectual levels, that way we don't get banned or flagged, and we can share this information out widely.
All right. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Hold on one second. I'm gonna allow two people to come in and introduce themselves. I'm gonna come to Sister Yahuda, and then I'm gonna come to you, Brother White. Okay, and so we have Sister Melody. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, any organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective. We're trying to keep the introductions to a minute so we can keep things flowing. Give thanks, Sister Melody.
Yes, I am a member of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense and have been since I was 14 years old. I've been working with the New Black Panther Party as an instructor in political science and holistic healing. I've also helped them with legal matters, as I am a paralegal by trade, bachelor's degree of science from John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
All right, much appreciated. Give thanks. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Then I want to come to Brother Dre. If you could introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, any organization that you might be representing, and any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective. Brother Dre.
Peace and power, family. My name is Bigger Dre. I have a human trafficking prevention awareness campaign. I'm a youth mentor, community organizer, an event planner. I have an upcoming event coming up in March. Details to be announced, but the main focus right now is the work of Matula Shakur. Y'all made that announcement, but I did get the information that they're going to be doing the training for those who are interested in doing the healing work. Matula Shakur. It's going to be at the One Art venue here in Philadelphia. So I'm all for our people. I can be reached on social media. My social media is official Bigger Dre. Peace and power.
Thank you. Point of clarity though, the One Art Center has not been confirmed as the location as of yet. So we'll definitely keep, we had Dr. Kokai on our radio program last night, Brother Bigger. So the actual location has not been confirmed as of yet, but we'll definitely keep folks posted on that.
Give thanks.
Yes, now put your information in the chat so people can follow up with you, Brother Dre. And yes, you can follow up with us as well to get more information on the upcoming sessions with Dr. Kokai and dealing with acupuncture training, detox training. All right, give thanks. With that being said, I want to come over to Sister Yaisha. You had a question or comment?
Shalom, everyone. I guess I just I got disconnected for a minute, and I didn't know if we went over, because I thought the purpose of this meeting was to talk about the upcoming events in February and March. At least that's what I had discussed with Empress regarding.
Yes, we actually did go over that. We covered that pretty lengthily in detail. This is being recorded though, so I can forward you the recording
Thank
that.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Welcome. No. All right, now I want to come over to Brother White. You had a question?
Yes. Yeah, I want to follow up from what the sister just stated. Maybe I missed it because I'm going to go to the UN in New York, and I'd like to know the specifications. The dates we're going to be there. Are we meeting someplace? The specifications that we need to know so that when we get to New York, we're not fumbling all over the place. So if you have any, please let us know as soon as you can, so I can, and like others, want to begin to make arrangements.
Absolutely. So thank you, Dr. Issa. As I indicated earlier, I'm due to go to New York next week to meet with officials in New York. And at this point, I cannot put out X amount of details until I meet with city officials. There are security issues that have to be dealt with. I can only tell you right now that it is March the 19th. We will assemble at 11 o'clock. Again, you have to know that we have organized 2 million people in the past and did so successfully. And with that kind of history, I can assure you, we kind of know what we're doing. But certainly, and I have to say these things because I'm like, this is not our first part at the rodeo. I mean,
I know.
But I understand what you're saying. But again, most certainly, we will definitely, as soon as we have met with city officials, we will certainly, convey everything that you need to know. I've been doing things at the United Nations now for the past 10 years. Giving thanks to our Queen Mother, Dr. Dolores Blakely, who has, really helped us in learning some of the protocols and processes I presented there on several occasions. This is different because we are looking at some of the side sessions that some of our sisters can participate in, some of the parallel sessions, because we want to get our women acclimated to these processes. And so that hasn't been released yet, by the way. They have not, the United Nations has not released the listing of the side sessions, the parallel sessions. Historically, we have done things at the church center, right, which is across the street from the United Nations. So we anticipate that being one of our locations. We've also done things around the corner at one of the churches. But again, I cannot give out certain information just yet. I can assure you within the next week, you will definitely, have a lot of the logistical things made available.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Give thanks. And again, make sure you're putting your information in the chat so we can follow up with you accordingly. And I believe I have Brother Lukman, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, free land. Let me turn this off right quick. There was a few things that I wanted to address. It's been a while, but I appreciate the fact that we are focusing on uplifting the Black woman, the mother of humanity. And one thing that all Black men should know is that she is our greatest loyalty. We all owe her that loyalty, and we are her safety, her protection, her dignity, and her honor is something that we should hold sacred and inviolate. In different parts of the world, there's various degrees and kinds of oppression that the Black woman suffers. It's not all the same everywhere. And so the solution not going to be all the same everywhere. But I noticed, because I recently just come from Africa. I was in Zambia. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that there's a lot of estrangement mm-hmm. between the Black woman and the Black man mm-hmm. that is common on both continents. Mm-hmm. And the brother spoke about E. Franklin Fraser's book dealing with the Black family. Right after that book came the Moynihan Report that studied the Black family. That was a white man, but, he studied the Black family, and I think he did an excellent job in pinpointing some of the key factors that led to the breakdown of the Black family. And when I studied the different philosophies and studies, I'm trying to turn this phone on, dealing with the Black woman, some was woman-centered perspective. Some of them were individualist perspective. Then I looked at some other studies, and it focused on a family-centered perspective. And it come at a holistic fashion, and it was about what was best for the whole family. And uplifting the whole family, because the family is the nucleus of society. It's the most important institution in society. The Black man ain't gonna be free if the Black woman ain't free. And the Black woman ain't gonna be free if the Black man ain't free. We have a common destiny and a common struggle. We gonna rise together, or we gonna fall together. And so it's good that we are celebrating the Black woman, the womb that bore us, and we're giving reverence to that. And the sisters mentioned about we stand, everybody stand in their lane. It's been a lot of confusion the last 60, 70 years in America over the exact role that the Black woman and the Black man play, the gender roles in the household, in society, in their laws.
repeated in other parts of the world. So that's why I say it's going to have to come in a multifaceted approach that looks at it on all levels in unique environments. Because when the brother mentioned about chauvinism, and then we have a lot of people come up with their different terms of what chauvinism is, misogynism is, and then wherever you find the line between misogynism, then you have the misandrist on the other side. So where do we draw these lines? You know, and when we look at the different societies and cultures, every culture and society has their own particular standard of definition. And what we have in the Black community in America is no collective standard, no common standard that governs the Black community on what a true womanhood is, what it means. No true definition in the Black community, no true standard, universal, widely accepted on what a true manhood is. So it's a lot of jockeying in positions, and it end up coming to the peak. We read the last statistics. The Black woman is the lowest one sought out for marriage in America. She's the most one. She's high divorce rate, and she's the more inclined to file for divorce. And so, what is going on? And getting to the root of that problem. And yeah, our women need to be safe, especially from the Black man. You know, and it's a disgrace that we have women being abused when Black men are in power. And she can't trust him to be the leader no more because he abuses that power and control. But we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You see, because that unit survived slavery and through Jim Crow up until the time when pointed out by Franklin Fraser and Dr. Monahan. That unit survived because the Black woman took it for the team. She took one for the team. She let the Black man be the leader. Not because there was anything that he had that could put himself up, because he was powerless on the slave plantation. She give him that power. She recognized that the family had to have a leader. It had to have one leader, and she knew that the best one to lead it was the Black man. She took that for the team. He couldn't appoint himself leader. He couldn't force himself to be leader. But that was this war between the Black man and the Black woman. It come up from the system. It interfered with the Black family, and it did the same thing in Africa. It's doing the same thing everywhere. And it's got the Black man and the Black woman can't get along. Don't know whose role is what. And we have to, in lifting up the Black woman, you know, we got to also understand the root of the problem, and not just emphasize that, hey, the Black man is the problem itself, or blame the Black woman. We also got to understand the role white supremacy have played in tearing up the Black family.
Thank you, because we really kind of need to move forward. So let me just say this, and brother, thank you so much for all of what you said. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your work. I appreciate you being a Black man. A lot of what has been said today, family, is things that have been said for quite a while. And again, some of us have taken the time to do the research, you know, at least some of it. And so we're now bringing forward the response to some of what we have learned. And with that said, what we're saying to our brothers is this, and this is what I also meant by staying in our lane. I'm not trying to tell a man how to be a man. It's not my role, not my position. I'm not trying to do that. So what I'm saying to brothers is a lot of these sisters have young Black males, either their sons, grandsons, nephews, also husbands and other brothers. We're creating a brotherhood coming from us as the woman, as the mother. And we're asking our men to come together so that you all develop the type of programming, for lack of a better word, for these young males. The warriorship training, the apprenticeship training. That's y'all's responsibility as far as we're concerned. We're going to stay in our lane and get with the sisters so that we can help them to understand their bodies, A, B, and C, etc. That's our responsibility. Or not, I mean, it's all of our responsibility of all what we're talking about. But I'm saying again, the one thing I learned is this in terms of struggle. When you're in a war, all hands on deck. And the other thing too is each one of us have an area of specialty. And this is what I meant by staying in one's lane. My area is our women and girls. I'm a Black woman. I have some insight into that. I gave birth to my child at home and made sure that her father was able to be a part of the delivery, etc., etc. So these are not things that we have not taken into consideration. These are conversations that we've had over the years with other sisters who are even older than some of us. We're here now to implement some of this. In studying the great Chenka Diop, the great Amos Wilson, I mean, to know Black power in the context of a book, but then how do we apply it in terms of modes of operations? And where are our women in this? We do not talk about the Yasantawa or Nzinga or Makeda or Hesheput in today's modes of operations. And so we're here to make certain that this is not only understood, overstood, but that we're all standing on our same square. So we bring forward, again, in most societies or civilizations, the representation of justice is in what form?
Woman.
That's right. So I'm not talking stuff that's like, you know, oh, this is, no, I'm telling you what's really going on in the real world. And there's a reason for that, because there's a balance, a capability of balance. So we're bringing forward the Ma'atic concept principles of utilizing the balance of things. So again, to be more specific, brothers, you all have a job to do here. Other than what Brother Abdul said in terms of security, we're depending on that. But don't be confused at the same time, we got your back too. You let somebody even think they're gonna mess with my son and see what happens.
So the earliest event is the Million Woman March in Philly, or the Million Woman Party convention. The Million Woman Convention,
okay,
or the Million Woman March that you're gonna have. Which one is the first one?
The first one, as you saw on the slide, is a convention. It is from March the 1st through the 10th. The first 5 days are free. And again, if anyone wants to get like the Zoom, because we've covered a lot of some of this, I just did so again today to kind of give an overview, but we've been covering some of this for the past year. But again, to answer the brother's question, from the 1st through the 10th is a convention where folks can learn what is MWM Universal Movements, what is its goals and objectives, what is the platform, what is the short-term goal, what is the protracted goals, etc. What's the BlacXPrint Agenda 25? That's for the first 5 days. The latter days is not general stuff. It is very specific. The Black women for reparatory justice, the African women for reparations, the Million Woman Party, all of that comes into the 5 last days. Only the sisters who literally are registered and are members will be in those sessions. The first ones are for anyone that wants to get information. The first 5 days of discussion. We're even going to have a forum on Black women and chemical hair relaxers, because we are going to have conversations about various things. So sisters from all over the country can talk about the issue of chemical hair relaxers and how it's now being linked to cancer. This is a discussion. but it's also an educational forum because it enables us to talk about the issue of our own lack of self-confidence. So again, we've structured things in a way to get multiple things done simultaneously. So to go back to the brother's question, March the 1st through the 5th, you do not need to register. You will get a link that will bring you to each session for those 5 days. The following 5 days is by registration only. It is exclusively for sisters who are ready to get with what we really got to now do. It requires consistency, commitment, etc. And so there's multi-levels here. Get in where you fit in, but there's some part of this that is that's very structured and very disciplined. And so for those sisters who just want to do one thing or the other, that's fine. You're welcome. For those sisters who are ready for something a little more advanced, we got you on that too.
And when were the dates and what city, please?
Okay, the dates again for the convention, March the 1st. We will put this in the chat as well. From March the 1st through the 10th. It'll be in Philadelphia physically, but it'll also be virtually. So no matter what city you're in, you'll be able to participate in some kind of manner by way of Zoom or whatever streaming we're going to be utilizing. But there will be physical sessions because it is important that we do things in the hood, in the community. Again, in Philadelphia, we're dealing with the machinery. And going back to what Brother Abdul said, we understand very clearly the system of off-white supremacy. And in following the instructions of the great Dr. Francis Cresswelling and Neely Fuller, who said very clearly, if you do not understand the system of white supremacy, everything else will only confuse you. So with those teachings, we've now developed various components that enables us to look at this stuff in that manner. So again, we will be doing things throughout the city of Philadelphia strategically to establish our position, but also to let people know we will be recruiting because we want to run our own candidates at some point. And it's not that we believe in the system. That's not it. We need to position people accordingly. And once we set up a model in one city, we'll duplicate it in other cities. We have a plan of action based on history and other kinds of accomplishments. Here in Philadelphia, we can tell you how many vacant properties there are. We can tell you the whole idea of gentrification in Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, DC. We've studied their city plannings. And so when we talk about the issue of reparations or reparatory justice, we have a position that allows us to now move in such a way that we can bring forth some other kinds of actions based on what we know about genocide. But again, that's a whole nother area that we'll be talking about at another time. So again, to repeat, March the 1st through the 10th is the convention. The first 5 days is totally accessible to anyone that wants to be involved. The latter days, those sisters will be the ones that make that will vote. We will have pre-plebiscite sessions to begin to acclimate our people to what is the plebiscite? Why do we need one? What is human rights? What's the difference between human rights and civil rights? These are sessions that will be offered to our people to begin the process that we've now embarked upon.
All right. Give thanks. Okay, with that being said, is there any final questions or comments before we get ready to close the session out?
Brother Lumumba, have you come up? I'm sorry, Brother Lumumba, real quick, and I'm sorry, sister. Have you come up with a date for the brothers in terms of organizing in regard to Million Woman World March and the development of the brotherhood for the Serious Brothers? And with that, of course, what I was indicating about the brothers coming together to develop the rites of passage or other kinds of programming specifically for our men. Is there a date yet set for that?
Well, again, I have bi-weekly meetings for the Mighty Meiotic Men of Valor Action Network. All right, that's going to be taking place next week. Okay, I can put my information back in the chat again. And so I'm utilizing this platform also as a screening for the Serious Brothers in Support. So those who are in that developmental phases, as we build with that rites of passage and mentorship program, then we can start funneling people into different categories, as it were, with the Serious Brothers in Support of the Million Women March and programming that's associated with that.
Okay.
All right. Again, so I'll put my information in the chat so you can follow any men that are interested in building further with the Mighty Men of the Mighty Meiotic Men of Valor Action Network, and want to get into different organizational methodologies as it pertains to the upcoming Million Women World March. Please get in contact with me and follow up so we can build towards those ends. I'll be putting that information back into the chat shortly. With that being said, is there any last questions or comments before we get ready to close out this session?
Yes, brother. I have a question as to how are we going to address our medical needs in this days and time. I've been desperately trying to get our brothers and sisters to realize we need our own hospitals because the pandemic showed us that if it didn't show us anything, that we will not be receiving any type of help from these people as far as our health is concerned and the saving of the lives of not only our elders, but our children, our babies, our most vulnerable part of society. And it's been a long fight. I've been since 2017 trying to establish this with the new Black Panther Party and other groups, the dire need for our Black graduate students who graduate from these colleges with medical degrees and are unable to complete their MD because they cannot get an internship. So I'd like to know if there's anything we can do about that, because we have over 600 female doctors who graduated from Harvard and Yale within the last 2 years that have no place to go. So are we going to be able to address this? Is there some way we can do something about it? I mean, I'm just asking, I'm just putting it out there.
Okay, so thank you, Sister Melody. The first things are first, before we look at venturing into the development of institutions, which is a lot of work, the first things are first. One is to develop the consistency of folks getting involved just in some of the basic minor things that now need to get done, organizing and things of that nature. What we're looking at doing is developing the various components that we need to bring things forward. Historically speaking, if you don't have a nucleus of a certain type, which is what we've been building, but people come in, they pop out. It used to be where folks said they were going to do something and they stuck with it. We saw that in the 50s and 60s. Over the years, unfortunately, for whatever reason, that hasn't happened. The inconsistency has created what some have already talked about, and that is we're so disconnected now. So the first things is by bringing our women together in one accord, again, based on just you being a Black woman in the context of the mother of civilization, to just begin that process without a whole lot of other stuff involved, just based on the fact that we come from the same mother and represent that. Let us take these first steps. because I've already done big events and other things of that nature, and know very clearly, if you do not create a structure of a certain type, people don't stick with it. And so this is what we're now developing with now the United Nations of African Women, the Commission on the Status of Women. The sisters can create whatever think tanks that is relevant to their interests. But those think tanks have to be consistent. So we're opening it up for whatever women want to do. And our brothers too, but right now we're talking about our sisters, to do whatever they want to do. But they got to put the work in. And I know that all of you, many of you are already doing that. What we're providing is a vehicle, a tool, an apparatus to be able to synchronize. Some of you are in different cities and states. How do we connect that so that we have like a consortium or a collective whereby we know what's going on in New Orleans. We know what's going on in New York. We know what's going on in Chicago. Just by, hooking it up just like that. We have to put those things in place. Then we can build whatever. And here's the challenge. We're looking at 1 million members. Do folks realize what we can do with 1 million members? So realistically speaking, it is about us having our own everything. And that's part of our brand, our own everything forever. But the process to do that is something we've been working on for over a decade. And now we're bringing that into fruition. And we're telling our brothers, our sisters, our children, we are striving to be fully emancipated. That's the difference. With self-determination as one of our major fundamental tools. And we've already demonstrated that. And have not latched on to a religion, have not latched on to a corporation, it's all encompassing what we're talking about doing. It's all inclusive to the best of our ability, but it's definitely about independence. We represent Queen Mother Moore in that context. We represent others, in that context. So we're bringing forward what we've researched and now are ready to put in action. So again, sister, to answer your question, it is certainly, you missed some of the earlier presentation. Again, we put these things in place. Dr. Kokai and his team is due to come to Philly to start the of training, because that's for some of us, that's first, but in the context of community, family, nation building. Before we start extending it out to others who, maybe aren't quite there yet, we want to build something with the folk who already are there because they're ready to move. And then we can extend it and expand it. But for right now, we need to take care of the immediate thing, which is the development of independent societies. That's how we're phrasing it at this point. And from those societies, it will expand into larger components.
Okay, sister, I understand exactly what you're saying, but least we forget, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, we had mobilized units of doctors that would go into the homes. We have what we call field doctors.
Yes.
And also that is a better structure for us as people to be able to do that. Also,
can I get it?
Sister, I just want to say this. We're moving forward, and if you have a structure that you want to share, the convention, you'll be able to bring all of that to the convention, and in that way the sisters can review it and we can vote on what it is we want to proceed with.
Can I get a word in?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, to answer the sister, what we're doing here with my group in Orlando, we're focusing on emergency clinics in communities. And we're going to our Black philanthropists and letting them know and showing them that these clinics are profitable. Hospitals are profitable, but especially clinics. We have to understand that they're moved by making money. And if we begin to focus on that, because we have killings in our community, we have people having babies in our communities, we have everything. but these small clinics is a pathway to ultimately developing hospitals that the sister is speaking of. If the sister who just spoke want to learn more about what we're doing in my plan, my email's there. You can email me, and maybe we can elaborate on this and align with what Sister Queen is talking about, if that's okay.
Absolutely. And Dr. Issa, definitely know, please feel free to do a presentation or something that you want to share, because again, we are a nucleus or an apparatus, and we want to connect to anything that is productive, practical, and progressive.
Absolutely.
And we want to support that. So again, in developing this movement, it is to bring these think tanks together so that those that have models or ideas or whatever, we can look at it and then we can vote on, this is what we're now going to support right now, or this is what we're going to support later. But we are providing the venue and the capability for folks to present whatever they want to present. And then we'll bring it back and examine it. And then as women, and then ultimately as a society and community, we'll then say, this is what we're going to do with this or this. But there has to be a process.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
and
ma'am.
that's what we're talking about.
Thank
So
you.
absolutely, my brother, again, we'd love to hear more about it. We have proposals that we'll be putting in called Blacknificent Cities. Based on the studies that we did of model cities from the 1960s. We literally have a brother who has compiled something called the National Black Agenda that has researched over 50 years of the various political conventions and other kinds of things that have happened in the U.S. pertaining to Black folks. And so we have that 38-page document that we'll be presenting at the convention.
Okay, you just send me the protocol and I'll follow through.
Okay,
Thank
will
you.
do. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Give thanks once again. Okay, any final questions or comments? Yes, Sister Tanisha.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing today? Hi, Empress Chi, everyone. I just have a quick question. I see some, hi. I see some flyers that's in the chat. Is there anyone I can tag them on to when I post on Instagram? Does anyone want me to post them directly to anyone on the page, or should I just go on and post them as is, how I normally do? You can type your Instagram into the chat once I post them, or do you want me to post these flyers, or what do you want me to do with them?
Yes, you can post the flyers. I'll put my Instagram in there as well. I do have it in there. I did list it again. I'll list it one more time. It's the breakdown. I have my phone number, my email, my
I screenshot that already. Okay.
Yes.
And I believe that's it. I think I have a few people I screenshotted. The guy that deals with the men, I sent some information to a few men just now on the call that's interested. It's a few local rappers in the Bay Area that want to help and be a part of the movement. So just can't wait till we all form together and get going. So I'm just kind of excited. So I'm excited about March.
Nice.
Right, excellent. Give thanks.
Yes.
Ashe. I mean, this is historic. And again, to meet and greet sisters coming in from that continent. And just so you know, again, thank you, Brother Abdul. You have to know that, and the brother mentioned it, in other countries, things are very different. And so again, as you heard Sister Naya earlier from Cameroon, we've literally been talking with sisters in different countries and have been cognizant of how we need to approach. With that said, when we meet our sisters coming in from the diaspora, for them to see us, for us to greet them as African women, as Black women, this is going to be, because some of them have never met any of us on this side. Right. And so they're exposed to a lot of white women, a lot of European women. So it behooves us for them to see us and get to know us, because you have other women going into the continent, building with them, impressing upon them certain things, because our women are not doing this. And so they come here or be there with a philosophy and mentality of other women, because we're not being responsible enough to develop the mechanisms to make sure that they know the difference. That's what we're doing. So when they come here in March for 2 weeks, a lot of them are sponsored by their government. Some are sponsored by corporations. Some are sponsored by foundations. But the fact is, if we don't have a presence with them, then they're only exposed to or interacting with other kinds of situations. So this is why this is really dynamic, because they get to meet us when normally they wouldn't be meeting us. Let me tell you that right now. I've been in these circles. And so
in the flesh.
yes. And so this is wonderful that they're going to see some real, well, not that other sisters weren't real, but y'all know what I mean. You know, we're in our communities. A lot of folks are in the boardroom or, you know, they get to see the whole kind of thing. But lastly, with that said, many have not heard of something called the Decade for African Women. Well, we know of it and researched it, and we are positioning ourselves to present to the African Union what we call the Nexus. The Nexus will give to heads of state what we are proposing for the International Decade for African Women. Note, the African Union started it in 2010. It went from 2010 to 2020, and it was called the Decade for African Women. Now, for the most part, it only included the women in the continent, although they said it was supposed to be for international. That didn't happen. I have the reports. We will present the reports at the convention, but also be prepared to meet with the heads of states once we're ready to show them or convey to them our proposal. Our proposal in terms of how the sisters in North America can interact with the sisters throughout the diaspora based on their reports. Because the Decade for African Women was supposed to focus on education, economics, politics, health, you name it. We now will be presenting to the African Union what we call the Nexus, which is the next steps. It will hold these countries accountable. Every country has to do something for the women. They don't, because there's little to no mechanisms for them to do that. And because we are here in the US, they have to kind of address this because we have the capability to expose them. Whereas sisters that are in other countries, they don't have that capability. Lastly, we will be adopting, for lack of a better word, sister cities or sister villages. Because remember, in a lot of the countries, in most of the countries, the sisters cannot send the children to school unless you have the money. That's why we created our own marketplace where the sisters will be putting their goods online. We will assist in marketing that so that they will have money to send the children to school. Because in many of the countries, it's not like here in the US, there's no public school. Not that that's a good thing, but I'm just saying they have to have monies to send the children for tuition, books, and uniforms. So again, so that people will know and understand, we have looked at these dynamics, a lot of this over the years, to see how we're going to assist one another in the best ways possible. And these are some of the things we'll be talking about at the convention.
All right. Give thanks, much appreciated. With that being said, I think we have a final question from Brother Bookman. Question or comment?
Through the land. I really just have a comment. But it was about something else, but this other thing just come up in my mind. Right now, the women, well, it's mainly the women in Sierra Leone who are complaining.
Can we
They are complaining about the men. And the men are strung out on this new synthetic drug called Kush that's ravaging the whole entire country of Sierra Leone and some neighboring countries.
Mhm.
And what the drug is doing is making them, the men, fail to go to work, be providers for their family, and protecting and becoming burdens. And the women are having to do everything insofar as taking care of the family and moving society. Now, the sister said that out of the convention, the women is going to do their thing, and then it's going to parlay from that to society and the community as a whole. And I'm thinking about Ubuntu, I am because we are, and where the men and the women come together, because this is a united struggle and a common destiny with the Black man and the Black woman. And we in this together. And at some point it has to come together. So that was what I was really trying to see and gather. And I hope that I can be a more involved participant in the Million Women's March movement. And the last thing I want to say is the lack of a general standard, a value system for the entire Black community is a major problem. And I don't know if the programs that have been put forth or that is coming out of the convention is going to address that, and whether men are collaborating in that or how it's going to go. But I think that is an important factor of dealing with the dilemma in the Black family, in the Black community, the lack of a collective standard. And the last thing I want to say is, it's important that, when we look at child welfare cases and situations, we always ask, what's in the best interest of the child? When we're looking at this situation here about Black man, the Black woman, and the Black family, the Black child, we know that if it uplifts the Black family, it uplifts the Black woman. If it uplifts the Black family, it uplifts the Black man. If it uplifts the Black child, it uplifts the whole. If it uplifts the whole family, it uplifts the child. So when we going into these different places, I think we should look at it from a family-centered perspective, and that we'll be on the right track. If we look at it from any other perspective, we're being too narrow. You know, when we adopt individualism, we're adopting Westernism. If we adopt a woman-centered perspective, we're replacing it with something else that's not going to be holistic and include everything that's important and bring true balance to the situation. There's a yin and there's a yang.
Yes,
between
sir.
the man and the woman. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if I could address that really quickly. So first and foremost, this is a holistic program. So although the head of this organization is female, and this is coming from a feminine perspective, this is about the entire family. All right. This is gearing the original organization was put together in order to uplift the Black woman, because the saying goes, if you can look at the condition of a society by looking at the condition of their woman, right? And so woman being the mother and nurturer, and being, for the most part, the individual who is rearing and raising the children. And so that's why that emphasis was put on there. And again, Brother El Malik El Shabazz saying the most disrespected and unprotected person on the planet being the Black woman. So those things that we had to immediately address. And now as it pertains to Black men, again, I am part of the hierarchy when it comes to the organization, which is the Serious Brothers in Support of the Million Women March. So that's part of the holistic dynamic as well. There is a component for men, there's a component for women. We come together and build the family. But there are some specific things that women need to focus on in building up other women. And if we bring some of those inconsistencies and toxicities in with the entire family, it's going to be a problem. And the same thing for the men. There are some specific things that men need to address as men as far as accountability and responsibility. And so that needs to be taken care of by men, and for boys. And so again, I have the Mighty Ma'atic Men of Valor Action Network, which is a mentorship and rites of passage program. And that gets into some of these fine details. What does it mean to be a man? What is the responsibilities? What does it mean specifically to be a Black man? Okay, what is the history, the foundation that we're basing these things from? And so we get into aspects of code of conduct, code of ethics. And again, a lot of these things we've already had laid for us by our ancestors. Okay, we've had several different organizations that have put forth blueprints when it comes to code of conduct, so on and so forth. So we just do our proper research and begin to tap into, our rich history and legacy and build on those things that we already have provided for us by our ancestors, then we can help to move things forward in a positive and productive manner.
If I may, I just want to, because I could have swore I already said some of these things, but I'll say it in a different way now, and it is this. Our objective is our whole family, and we're dealing with a strategic mode of operations. I know it's difficult to fathom that sisters have the capability or the responsibility to deal with strategic concept of warfare. But there is a history and a legacy of that. And so what we're saying at this particular point in time, and note, family, and I say this again with much love and respect, if someone has a plan of action, not just a conversation, not just a discussion about here's the problem, but if anyone has a plan of action that is ready to go, and you have the backup capability to manifest it, believe me, I'm ready. Listen, you see, but I've been waiting for that for 10 years in that manner. So we're now at the point where we're not just going to keep having these conversations without there being a plan of action introduced that has step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. With that said, we are talking about functioning with the idea and the concept of 360 degrees. And with that said, what I've been taught by some of our elders, I sat with Baba Kwame Ture before he became an ancestor. He sent for me. I met with him, just he and I. I've sat with Minister Farrakhan. I've sat and had dinner with Minister Farrakhan, where he even said at the table that Mother has said it is time for us to reconvene or to end this session. And I'm the only sister at the table. So I have to say these things because I don't believe people kind of get what's really being, brought forward here. This is not something that just came out the clear blue sky. This has been a lot of work. I was the national co-convener for the Million Moors movement, the national co-convener, as Minister Farrakhan asked me to be. I was the national co-convener for the Million Youth March, which Dr. Khalid Muhammad asked me to be. And I'm the founder of the Million Woman March. So my point is this, that we're not talking about doing something of a certain type. And we know that it's different and unfamiliar for most because we haven't seen it. Most situations have been the following of women, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a time and place for everything. And I dare say, with what's going on right now, there has to be some different modes of operations. The enemy already knows what to do. And if some of us do not address our women, the enemy will. The enemy will continue to suck them in. And so, again, as sisters, we can talk with our sisters. We can begin to have conversations that elevate, that helps them to realize you don't have to look like Miss Ann in that manner. But we have to have those conversations with her. And again, brothers, do what brothers need to do in talking with the brothers about not wanting the sisters to look like Miss Ann. I'm saying we all have a role here. That's what I meant again by staying in the lane. I'm taught to deal with things like a doctor. And when you are a doctor, 9 times out of 10, you have an area of specialty. When you're on the operating table or when you're dealing with an illness, you have to know the specifics of how you need to address that illness. Right now, we're talking about addressing the specific illness of our women. That doesn't mean that we're not doing other things, because we are. We have our children, we have our elders, and all of them have special needs. But why is it when we start talking about the needs of our women, it becomes a whole nother thing? And this has been going on since Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker, Daisy Baker. This has been going on, Mother Rosa Parks, and others. And at some point, that can't keep going on. And I'm here to tell you that it's not going to keep going on.
Free the land. This is Brother John E. Lamont. I think I'm being misunderstood. I'm not opposed to women getting together, having a sisterhood circle, whether you want to call it a Million Woman March or whatever convention, and ironing out and dealing with the problems that are uniquely the woman's problem. Sometimes it's best not to have men in the room. Like sometimes it's best when Black folks get together, we don't have no white folks in the room. You know, women are more free and uninhibited. What I'm saying is that whether the Black men are over here dealing with the problem, whether the Black women are over there dealing with their body self, or whether we all huddled up together, what perspective is we looking at the problem from?
Okay.
Like, and if we look, because the Black man can look at it from an individual perspective, a Black man perspective, a woman-centered perspective, or a family perspective. The Black woman can look at it from all those 4 options also. I'm saying that everybody should be looking at it from a family-centered perspective. Every issue, every problem. And that's the correct understanding of what I'm saying. And
okay, just thank you. I'm just going to say this and I'm going to leave it alone. I'm doing what my ancestors told me to do. Anybody got a problem with that, go talk to them. Brother Lumumba, back to you.
All right, give thanks once again. And again, you know, these sessions, the Million Woman March, it is family orientated. It's about building up the entire family. It is coming from a feminine perspective, just as we have movements that have come from a masculine perspective. So again, this is holistic. We are talking about dealing not only with our women, but our men and our children. We're talking about dealing with the entire Black family. All right, we've being able to glean from the lessons of past organizations such as the Universal Negro Improvement Association, as well as the Black Panther Party, as well as the Republic of New Africa, as well as others. Okay, so we are building and continuing in those legacies. Again, there is different components that we need to deal with on our own basis and merits. And then when we pull together collectively, we're that much more stronger and fortified, because we've already worked through some of our issues in our own perspectives. All right. So with that being said, if there's any final questions or comments before we close this session out, you have the floor now.
Yes, sir. I did have one comment, and it's a footnote. Just salutations to the room and proper greetings to you all. It's been a productive session here today on the Zoom call and virtual. I did want to make an announcement for help on a situation that I have to manage personally. But when they brought up the nation of Sierra Leone, I just wanted to let you know our chairman is in exile, and I wanted you to know it's an undisclosed location at this point, but we'd like you all's help and whatever help you can render in get him here to the United States. Some situations occurred, as you know, in Sierra Leone, and he had to flee the country for his safety and for other reasons. I just wanted to update you to let you all know that. I'm sitting here just shaking my mind. This is my shirt is there. That's a Nat Turner and a black historical shirt I'm wearing in the name of many of our ancestors are on there, and they have gone on many in the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Omar Wali, the freedom fighter, Malcolm X, still in the spirit of all of the ancestors that contribute to our welfare. And our beloved sister said it best: if you crush us to the earth, the truth is still I rise. My Angelo put a great effort in she say Fannie Lou Hamer, brothers and sisters, and when you see us working as a team, this is I think the greatest organized effort in bringing the brothers and the sisters to the table to bring the Black woman back to her crown of authority, her place, and then to compliment the Black man. And now she's able to teach within comfort, teaching the wounds and necessities for freedom fighting, freedom building, and for future leadership in the womb of the mother. And every decent man has always come up to respect on the highest end of woman. And this brother has a high respect for women. His name is Alfred Cisse. He's the chairman of the chapter in Sierra Leone. He's reached out to Gambia. He's opening places for us and for the leadership of Sheikh Mem Akbar in parts of Africa. I never thought that we would have inroads, and he's introduced me to many African leaders that want to come with the path of concept. But he's in exile now, and I'm asking for whatever help that you know you can render in getting a man from somewhere in the east, undisclosed location, but to get him either here to America to a safe location where he won't have to fear for his life and the safety of his car. He had many comrades on the ground in Sierra Leone. And we want to leave it right there, but we'll just let you know that there's work being done, there's efforts to make international connections, and we're so proud of our Empress, the Queen Empress Shea, you call her Sister Queen Fillet, is making the international movement and connection. The importance of connecting the dots to Africa is more important than fresh air and fresh water, because there's proof, and as a matter of fact, we're living proof and evidence that you can live on polluted air and you can live on polluted water, but you can't live without your Black revolution. And if I say Black power, that means it's a lifestyle, it's not a cliche. And I'll leave you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum and Black power.
Thank you, Brother Akbar. I just want to remind everyone also in terms of Black Power Radio, for tomorrow night, we will be talking about Mumia Abu Jamal. Sister Pam Africa gave us a update on Brother Mumia's condition, and it is not good. And tomorrow we will talk more about him on Black Power Radio. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
All right, give thanks. With that being said, I believe that is all the questions we had. If there are any final questions or comments before we get ready to close out this session.
Yeah, I have something to say.
Yes, sir.
This brother Lefty X. I enjoyed this meeting.
Excuse me, Sherry Suttles on Truth Bay asked me to join.
Like mute. Sorry, Brother Lefty. Please continue.
Oh, okay, so I enjoy these. I enjoy these meetings. I take these meetings as like information sessions where we can connect and network. That's why I put in the chat that we can use the chat. This is for us to take information and disseminate it out to our circles of influence, and that's how I take it when I come here. So I know
Ashe.
aspect of it. So I believe that I appreciate Empress Shay and Brother Lumumba, everything y'all do, and we get this together. It's a family thing, and family disagree, and we tend to but we'll get it together.
Ashe. Thank you, Brother Lefty. And I mean, listen, it's all what it is. I mean, we are family, and of course, with that, there are different dynamics. But again, what we have to also know is that we're in a war. And so at some point, people have to step up into the roles that they have to step up into. And so, you know, again, I had the opportunity to go to Benin. And in doing so, I was allowed to meet with some of the sisters there. People saw the warrior queen, king, or whatever it was called. And I mean, that was, a whole hodgepodge of stuff. But I've been there. I've been to Dahomey. I've met with 3 or 4 villages where the king had women as his guards. I've been there and have met with them. So again, what we're saying is, with all things considered, that right now we're at a very crucial time and we must begin to take a certain type of action. And so we are doing that. And again, by any and all means necessary. This is just the way it is for now, that we have to step up. We understand some very important things, and we're now just manifesting what many of our ancestors already spoke of, sacrificed for, and died for. And so, again, folks will have the opportunity to share and convey different strategies and other kinds of things, because in a war, there's many battles. Therefore, there will be some things that is appropriate for one kind of battle or another kind of battle, and folks are welcome to bring it. If you're going to take on that leadership and responsibility, fine. But just know that there's, more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. I yield. But Lumumba, you got it. Let's close this out. Okay.
All right. Give thanks. Much appreciated. All right. Thank you, everyone, once again. Thank you for joining us. I want to thank you for your time, energy, and effort, dedication, discipline, and determination. I want to say, let us continue.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't know if Mama Sherry introduced or was here, but and that's who I was talking about with Chief Elder John Henry. Hello, this is Sherry.
Yes.
From Gullah Geechee Group.
Oh, yes. Please introduce yourself, sister.
Thank you. Sherry Ann Summels, founding president, Gullah Geechee Group Incorporated, IRS tax exempt since 2010. You can hear me now? Okay. Truth Bay asked me to join so that I connect with Elder John Henry, a Geechee.
Yes, ma'am. We do have his information.
Is he still on this Zoom or what?
He is no longer on this Zoom. Okay. He did have to leave, but we do have his
He's
information,
no longer, okay.
So we can forward that information to you through Sister Truth Bay as well.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all your hard work. Okay,
Is
once again, fam.
Is this Brother Sensei speaking?
No, this is Brother Lumumba Uncaged. I think Brother Sensei had to leave as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to acknowledge him as well.
All right. Give thanks. Much appreciated. All right. With that being said, family, you get ready to close this session out. We'll be having the recording available most likely by tomorrow. So just give me some time with that. I can forward that out. Thank you once again for joining us. Again, thank you for your time, energy, and effort, dedication, determination, and discipline. I'd like to say, let us continue to strategize, mobilize, and organize. I want to bid you all truth, justice, peace, love, freedom, and prosperity. And in closing, I want to say, promoted to the Shinda. Together, we will win. All right. Peace and love, family.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Free to land. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
I'd hotep to everyone.
Ashe, love and light.